Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to go over the latest content, including the new Stanley Cup playoff cards. These are the ones that are going to go up by +2 for every win that their team receives in the third round. And I kind of want to talk about what I would like to see from this event in the future. We've had these cards for the last few games and they've operated in the exact same way, but the selection of the players is extremely weird and we need to figure out a better way to actually acquire them, because at this stage of the game, obviously interest in the game overall is waning, much like it does for every ultimate team for every sport game. But specifically with this event, we're getting to the height of the NHL season and, well, it just kind of falls flat. So I'm going to go over my takes and what I would like to see in the future. Let me know if you agree in the comment section down below. All right, let's get a look at the content. All right, so we'll kick things off with the 89 ZACK KASSIAN. He is one of the Oilers options at 6'3", very good build, and has bouncer as his superstar ability. Now, these cards, let's pretend Edmonton is able to win their series. They go up by +2 for every win, so you'd get a total of +8 like all of the other rounds. However, speed only goes up by 1, so this would get it to a 97 overall card. Speed would be at 92. That's with synergies activated. There is a lot of options that have been chosen so far from this playoff round, and I think that's something that EA falls victim to itself, is just the laziness of the actual cards. They release more cards and content than almost any other Ultimate Team game, but it follows the same cookie cutter system of +1 or +2 to every attribute. You have no actual intricacies to make the cards valuable. You know what players want and makes them an actual good card. They just don't really impact that, and it makes a lot of these cards fall really flat, and I'll get to a way to fix that in a little bit. So that being said, 89 ZACK KASSIAN, if they were to win, obviously they are the heavy underdogs. I don't think it's as big of an underdog as the betting line says it is. That being said, at 92 speed, that's just awfully rough. Like, that's barely usable. However, if you are trying to make an Oilers theme team, these are great cards. But really, the biggest benefit of these cards, all of the playoff predictor cards, is that they get a couple wins and you can use them in sets. The other Oilers option is the 89 BOUCHARD, 6'3", obviously great size, 90 acceleration, and 88 speed. And then essentially, you know, in the high 80s, low 90s for everything else. His shot is already max, so if he gets +8 and they win it, all of his attributes are going to be basically maxed out, except for his skating, which is the most important. Quick pick, superstar ability isn't bad either, but at 99 defensive awareness, it means a lot less. Here's the thing about BOUCHARD and what I want to get into about playoff cards, I apologize, is that the player choices are extremely odd. So let's go back, and if we take a look at the ones the Oilers have already gotten, Puljujarvi is awesome. I think that's a cool one, but Duncan Keith, Cody Ceci, and Ryan McLeod are just kind of meh. You know, they're very low, they're very unexciting players, and even if you're building an Oilers team, you're probably not super stoked to get them. Now, the reason why they always do lesser-known players or lesser big-name players is because, assuming everything equal, all the other big-name players like Draisaitl and McDavid, they're going to get prime times in Team of the Weeks, which is fair. That's fine. So the other cards, they won't receive updates. That's the issue, though, is that at this stage of the game, no one is pulling prime times. No one is opening up packs. There is none on the market because of the 4 separate markets, and it causes a huge issue here. If we're being honest, I don't know how Nugent Hopkins hasn't gotten one, because at least secondary scoring would make sense. Kyler Yamamoto even. And what's even more ridiculous is that BOUCHARD already has a card that can go up much higher. That's right, he's got a Hut Champs card. Now, you know, assuming you're a full offline player, you're probably not able to get it, but it only takes 2 actual Hut collectibles to actually get him to acquire the card, and then you can use coins to upgrade. But this is already a better card, and that's if the Oilers win the series. We're at the 3rd round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's kind of ridiculous that we're not receiving better cards for this stage because we're almost at the final. On to the Colorado Avalanche, and one of your options is the 89 JT Compher with Wingman as well as Distributor. And with these synergies, it makes me 100% confident that they're aware that their skating is really bad or not desirable at all. Why not just individually raise the skating so that I can get to somewhere a little bit higher and more usable? We're at a stage of the game where it's 99 everything. These cards should matter, especially because we're taking a risk for them. So why take the risk if the card is just going to be mediocre at best? This one's got Make It Snappy, which isn't a great superstar ability, I'll be honest with you, but everything else would be 99 outside of his skating. That would get up to 93 as for acceleration and speed if they were to win. Again, JT Compher doesn't really move the needle. What's even more ridiculous is that the second option is Jack Johnson, because good lord, he doesn't get enough cards in a season. But Truculence, that's a fun one. but 86 speed. What are we doing? The Avalanche are a perfect example. All right, Jack Johnson, JT Compher, that's this round's selections, right? Bowen Byram, that one's kind of cool. Nico Sturm, Ryan Murray, and Logan O'Connor. If you asked 10 people that don't watch the Avalanche, I bet they couldn't even name Nico Sturm, Ryan Murray, or Logan O'Connor. So again, I understand they're doing fan service to lesser-known cards to acquire these, but these should be somewhat... like, I understand not giving it to Nathan McKinnon, but maybe Rantanen, Landeskog, even Samuel Girard. Like, there is secondary players that do not receive the big-time highlights and prime times and all of that. And this goes for not just this event, but master sets, too. I talked about this a lot. There is master set selection that are cards, and the reason why they are is because the higher known guys will get their prime times and their updates throughout the year, but then they highlight these master set players to try and give the lesser known players. The most famous one this year was Eric Branch from the Ottawa Senators. I've harped on that one because it doesn't make any sense, but regardless, where's Thomas Chabot? Like, that would have been a perfect example of that. And this playoff collection and cards, they have a lot of risks to them. I just don't get why they're not bigger names and just more fun. You should be excited to use them. The only reason you're excited for these is that the potential chance that they're going to go up, that you can cash them in for a little bit better return in sets. All right, finally one I can get on board with. The 89 Capo Caco for the New York Rangers, 6'3". But again, skating is a huge issue here. Like, why are we going to try and acquire these cards if no matter what, skating is not the end-all be-all? But guys, we're at 99 HUD. If you want a card to feel half decent, he's got to be able to keep up a little bit. We're talking 92 max speed here, and 94 acceleration, which, I don't know, in my personal opinion, I think at the end of the game as we get here, these cards specifically, you're risking, you're putting in risk. They should have a chance to get to 99. That's just my personal opinion. I would love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments section down below. Cabo Caco is at least a cool option because he is a more popular player, one of the younger players for them, and obviously a very high draft pick. Does have unstoppable force, so this one out of all of them is okay. You could get away with it, but again, the cost to get him is probably not going to be worth it. And the other option is the 89 Justin Braun. This one has 89 speed out of the gate, or you could go, and 90 acceleration with silver shutdown, which isn't awful. This is okay, but again, Justin Braun, I would have loved this when he was a Shark. Justin Braun now, like, again, there's like 5 other Rangers I would rather have than this. And if you're a Rangers fan, let's be honest, outside of Rangers fans, you probably would not have taken the Rangers in the first 2 series. Maybe you would have, maybe you wouldn't have. I don't know. Again, they weren't the betting favorites. So if they're the underdog, shouldn't they get something for it? That's all I'm saying. Like, that's what I don't really understand for the risk aspect of this. Your Tampa Bay Lightning cards is the 89 Patrick Maroon. And again, guys, if you're trying to make a Lightning theme team, even if the Lightning win, and again, they're probably the heavy favorites going into this, how are you guys going to use a 90 speed Patrick Maroon card that's 97 overall, right? Like, it's just, they just need to take a look, bump up the skating a little bit, leave everything else the same, and that's fine. Or just make them 99. Like, have some fun, or maybe 98s even, something that where it gets high enough where everything's got to be bumped up, because at a certain point, if they had that low of speed still would have to be increased because everything else would be 99. But Patrick Maroon is a cool card I get for the Lightning, but their other selections have just been, like, where's Kucherov or Point? I know that they're going to get their prime times or whatnot, but why? Who cares? The other option is the 89 Nick Paul. Now, he has had a great playoff run, so again, these ones, out of all of them, I actually don't mind. 88 acceleration, 86 speed. You're not going to be able to use it. Like, unless you're playing offline, like, unless you're playing squad battles, and again, there's a lot of people out there that are all for that, but if you're trying to build a team that you can actually have fun with against other people, 90 skating in June is not it. So, guys, I also wanted to touch upon how you acquire them, because, again, we're at a stage where, obviously, the player base is very low. These cards should have tremendous value, and to EA, they have insane value, because if you go to the sets, you can actually make them, or at least get a choice pack. If you go to Stanley Cup Round 3, a lot of people didn't even know that these were makeable, but you can trade in the Stanley Cup playoff item player choice pack. This is untradeable, so you will get one of 2 choices, so you might not even get the one you want, because again, these are very, very hard to pull on the market. They cost 34 collectible. Like, let's say that you get each collectible for about 4,000 coins. That's 136,000 coins that you're risking on A, you can't choose the card that you want, B, it's untradeable, and C, what happens if you get 2 teams that you don't think are going to advance? Like, that's such a waste. It's puzzling to me how much randomness EA wants in their game and won't allow us to acquire the things that we want to acquire. It's extremely odd to me and something that I've harped for the last like 2 years. Here is what I would recommend. Okay, one, if you don't want to make, change anything, at least allow us to choose what cards we want. All right, let's say you're, a Tampa Bay Lightning fan and you think that they are going to move on. Let us go and pick them. Okay, so don't make it a 1 of 2. You can keep it untradeable, but allow us to actually acquire it. The other thing is that we're at a stage, like I said, where the game is, at a very low player base. Why can't we, at the beginning of each round, get a choice pack, or maybe we get one card from each team that we can choose? Let us bank and shoot our shot. So here's my example. Let's say you got, there's 2 options for every team. So there's 4, you get 1 of 4, okay? And you might not get the Bouchard, you might get the other option, okay? Why not allow us to just select one, shoot our shot so that we're tied into the selection that we are making? And I think that would just go a long way on top of actually giving us cards and players that are a little bit more intriguing. Like I said, Jack Johnson for the 40th time this year. I get it, it's a joke because EA always wants to release Jack Johnson cards, but man, let the joke die. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I would love to see this event just get some love. It's been the same thing for so long now. They just need to add some things to it and help us out a little bit. But again, let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.